Moonhaven episode 2. This one is presenting right where we left, right into where Bella left and obviously lost consciousness, and we're presented to her waking up into this little isolation hut which is out in the middle of the sea, which is a really nice touch to make sure that she's feeling like really isolated and really like alone. Presents a little bit more facts into this episode, so everything is starting to move forward. Obviously we've had that little bit of a twist on the ship, and I still really like the detectives having their childlike ways. You can see our main detective, how he's kind of starting to question things that are happening on Moonhaven and the community choices and cultural norms that they've established, and like trying to understand the Earthling side as well and seeing where it all sort of comes in. But he's like acting, and they are having fun with it, which is normally like detectives are normally dark and really put off by all the sort of grisly murders, but like these guys are trying to role play this out, which is a really different dynamic, which is nice. I do like the contrast of everything on the moon is obviously they have that different innocence where they're not used to all these different murders, and it's interesting for them to see how someone would be murdered in their like utopia. There are so many good things that are happening in this show, like Bella actually going out and exploring. Like she leaves her hut and is able to be a little bit too crafty. Well, she is reasonably crafty because obviously we're presented into that she was a smuggler, and obviously she's sort of scrapped and survived by herself for quite some time on Earth and had to be quite crafty, where she's out about exploring. And it's a really cool contrast, great shot where all these people are coming out of the woods, they're in their different clothing, like the contrast between them coming out and the aerial shot as they close in on Bella. Like it was such a cool shot, like everything about it was awesome, and it really felt she was not in trouble, but like that desperation where she is out of her depth, and we are sort of getting that point of view. And it's very rare that those shows are able to get that sort of isolation and that confusion across to the audience. But they've done well with this. Bella is an interesting number of subplots that are happening as well. Like the Earth delegate is trying to get the Moonhaven council person to retire and get someone else, because they're trying to get the bridge established and really get their own motive across, where everything is starting to unfold. They're starting to really give you a little bit more of a story. It is still that slow burn. Like if you're coming in here and you're still thinking, all right, maybe there's going to be a lot more action. We're not at that action point yet. Like there wasn't much, but we are moving forward into that bigger plot line that's going to happen, where obviously Bella has two other sisters and they're presenting to, like, she's kind of a prophet, where I guess that's the Moonhaven sort of prophet and psyche, etc. But like that little thread story where they right at the end where they're given that little orb and our detective off onto really uncovering the truth, which is going to be quite interesting. They're going to be the two that are going to unravel this mystery that is currently being presented. And there's all sorts of different things. There's like that little child that was the one that ran through the woods and out. Like there's obviously a different dynamic of people roaming around on Moonhaven as well. So there's those three kind of factions that are all going to meld into one and sort of bring into that sci-fi trope. A number of weird things, like when Bella is I don't do well cage, like it's a little bit cringy, and our detective fights like he's on a Dark Souls game where he rolls, like he's just randomly rolling to avoid her punches, which is a weird choice considering, like, I'm assuming they don't have a lot of violence, but they do that sort of dance and aware. So I guess the roles do sort of play into how you would avoid those those actions. Pacing is still slow. It needs to pick up slightly. I'm not sure how many episodes are in this season, but obviously the next episode is going to be when we sort of information and things have picked up in episode 2, but we're still presented in that really slow burn into the sci-fi, where I'm sure a number of people have probably dropped off already, but I am really interested to see how they're going to progress this story. Like I am engaged in this actual into the series, where I feel like people probably need to give it a little bit more of a chance. But yeah, let me know what you think below, and you know what to do. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends.